worked with and worked for. So at this time, I'd like to have everybody give a warm welcome to the new head coach of the Phoenix Suns, Jordan Ott.
Put your hands together for your new coach, everybody. I know you're excited.
Whoa. What a day, you know. It's been really what a week, if I'm honest. Like, just what a whirlwind, just and how truly special this is for me and my family. You know, I'm honored to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. But when you get the call and you go through your emotions, you're like, man, you've been around and been lucky to be around a lot of good people. And, you know, it starts with the different places I've been to, and then all the different coaches and the support staff that I've been around. And I know a lot of you have reached out, and I'm truly thankful for helping me along this journey. And, you know, part of that is the highs and part of that's the lows.
Good one, Jordan.
You know, it's a pretty cool thing to be involved in basketball. And the most important piece, you know, over now it's 19 going on 20 years, my 7 years in college and 12 in the NBA is the players. You know, it's incredibly tough what you guys do. And to be an NBA player, to maintain yourself in the league, to grow, to be resilient, you're in the toughest environment in the world in the sport that you play. And for those guys that have allowed me to coach them, you've definitely helped coach me and get me better. I can still hear Pat Bev barking in my ear. I hope I've made you better because I know that you've made me better. And without you guys, everyone that I've been around, all the players, without that, I wouldn't be sitting here. Then a special thanks to Matt Ishbia, Brian Gregory, and Josh Bartlestein for giving me this opportunity.
Don't think Bartlestein.
This opportunity to be the head coach of this great organization.
Not after what he did.
The tradition of winning, you know, the Suns basically changed the way the game has been played. And we're so excited to be here in this community. And then quickly my mind goes from that to what's next. And that's how my mind has been all weekend into this week since we've got here. What's next? And the next challenge, the next hurdle, and that's an important piece to all this, how excited I am to be going forward with you all. Thank you.
We'll open up for some questions now.
Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. Jordan, congratulations. Brian, good to see you as well.
Great seeing you.
Jordan, for you, you mentioned the various stops that you've been throughout your career. Obviously, you've carved out an identity as an assistant coach. Now taking that next step as a head coach, what kind of head coach do you want to be, and how do you want your players to see you as a coach?
Yeah, thanks, Gerald. I think, you know, moving that 12 inches over is different. But I'm always going to bank on who I am as a person. That hasn't changed. I think if you ask around the people that I've been around, we're going to demand that you work. That's where it's going to start. I want them to know and believe that I'm going to help them. We, this place, we're going to help them. We're going to help them at every phase of their game. We're going to help develop them, get to a new level that they didn't think they could get to. And it's going to take all of us. And then it's tough. It's tough to play in the NBA. And I want them to know when they're out there playing that we're together. Not only your teammates, but us as coaches, all the support staff, we're all here to find solutions. And
is he winning you over already, boys?
Evaluate it, get to the next.
And congratulations on the flu grad with the Phoenix.
I got to
Suns.
protect my heart.
Just
I want to
looking
love
at your
him.
journey
I
as a
do.
whole, you started off as a video coordinator. How do you think just the years that you've spent in the league leading up to this point will better serve you even with the players and just building those relationships?
Yeah, again, I think I've thought about that over time, and then the last week it really hit you. But, you know, it's just so many different situations that you're put into when you're in sports in a competitive environment. You know, I've been on teams that, you know, when we first got to Brooklyn, it was 20 wins, 28 to then try to make the playoffs. And then, you know, the last 5 years has been interesting. You know, we we had a great team with multiple superstars in Brooklyn, and those arenas and those environments change you, change the players. That's the highest level of pressure and how you maintain yourself, grow, and move it forward. Those 2 years in Brooklyn, my 2 years in LA, and then of course this last season in Cleveland have definitely put me in the fire. And I'm excited to now go forward and show all that I've learned.
Hi, Jordan. Doug Haller with The Athletic. Welcome to the Valley.
Thanks, Doug.
Just throughout your experience, when did you first start seeing that this might be possible in your career, that one day, and instead of being assistant or whatever, that you might be sitting in the lead chair for an NBA franchise?
Yeah, Doug, I think I have too much appreciation for the profession to believe that, guaranteed it's going to happen. You hope to put yourself around enough great coaches, great organizations, and then the players that really force you to think outside the box, be creative. I think those last 5 years, and especially, in the last 12 months, really then taking action on what I've learned, specifically over those, the 2 in LA, 2 in Brooklyn, to then put it to action, and then the way we played, the way the Cleveland Cavaliers played last year.
Whoa.
That's how everyone wants to play. And that's the exciting piece, being there at the ground level to build that, and then take that to a new place where we can build it here.
What is going on?
Jordan back here in the back right. Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. Nice to meet you.
There we
Welcome
go.
to the Valley.
Thank you.
With what Brian was mentioning about offensive and defensive philosophies, I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to craft your own style of play. What comes to mind for you when Brian mentions those philosophies and sort of the key bullet points for you with the forward thinking that he was mentioning?
Yeah, everyone's going to say pace, right? So offensively playing faster, I think a way to look at it is playing earlier in the clock. We know the efficiency of offensive possessions, start high and they drop. So how often can we get a good look early in the possession? So we're going to play fast. We're going to move. And, the cutting piece is important. And we saw that this past season. Teams started to pick up on it. But we're going to cut, we're going to move bodies. And then we're going to find ways to get extra possessions. So we're going to crash, find ways to get extra possessions, because, we know how important it is to win the possession game. Not only do you got to get high-quality shots, you got to be there in the possession game. And then defensively, like BG mentioned, I want to play aggressive. We see it in the playoffs. We see exactly 2 teams that are at the end of the day in the finals, what aggressive defensive mentality does to the offense and how it impacts the offense. And then we're going to communicate. Defensively, it's so random. Offenses are becoming more conceptual. How we communicate, and then at the end of the day, defense needs effort. All-out effort all the time. And then we're going to have to be connected. Through the 48 minutes, there's going to be some type of adversity. Can we stay connected to move past that and be more connected for a longer period of time than the other team? And the last piece, and I've already hit on it a little bit, is we're going to do it collaboratively. And again, I think I've seen the change in the last handful of years in the NBA is we need everyone to help and find solutions. That's all departments, all of us, to help these guys not only get better, but then find solutions before the game, in game, and then post game. So that's going to be our playing style. Again, I am chomping at the bit to try to get this thing, get on the court, but to the guys' credit, they've been in here working, so it's definitely an exciting part.
Hey, Jordan, Shane Young at Forbes. Welcome to Phoenix.
Thanks, Shane.
Just curious, what does it mean for you to have Devin's support throughout this whole process, and what has
It's a good
stuck out
question.
to you about him throughout his career?
So, yeah, I'll tell you a little story about Devin. 1-on-0 workout in a draft workout. Again, it was just coach, player, rebounder, and I can remember how he communicated and competed with himself in a 1-on-0 workout. And we left that workout knowing that he was different. And then to see how early he had success in his career, of course from afar, but bubble to 2021 season to take this team to the finals, and all the great things that he's accomplished so early in his career, being a all-time leading scorer. And he's in his prime, ready to rock. And again, we need to help him. And that's my job as the coach, to help him in multiple areas, help him find solutions, so he knows that he has us behind him. Make or miss, end the game, game on the line, make or miss, we're behind him.
Hey, Coach. Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Welcome to Phoenix. I got actually a question for you, Ann.
Yeah, Michael. I mean, apparently this was the guy Book picked,
Following up
so
what has happened
we
here,
can't
as far as
complain.
guys getting 1 year with Frank, and then you have Budenholzer. Was there any trepidation at all with you? I understand it's the first opportunity that you could have to be a head coach. But did you have any thought of, I'm getting ready to fall into something where the last couple of coaches haven't got but just 1 year?
No, I mean, I think we're all aware of what we sign up for when we're an NBA basketball coach. And again, I'm not here to look back what has happened. I'm here right now and focused to move this thing forward. That's my sole energy. You know, it's been a busy couple days, a lot going on, but that's exciting. And I'm focused on moving this group forward from here on out.
Okay. And then, Brian, the same, just tips around along the same lines, but for you, as far as the process and talking with the coaches, how important is it to say, okay, look, this is a process and it's not going to be a 1 year deal, or is it, hey, look, we're trying to
Our boy Brian Gregory.
Look to move forward.
No, I think, as Jordan said, anybody in this profession, the coaching profession, as Jordan said, knows that.
Yeah, we heard him say
challenges that come
profession.
with it,
Thanks,
but during
Brian.
the process, we understood that we wanted to find the right coach that fit a lot of the stuff that I talked about a few weeks ago, that Matt talked about a couple weeks previous, in terms of building that identity, building a team that this great community can be proud of.
Say
He
it.
described how we're going to play.
Say alignment.
That was the buzzword. The alignment was there.
There we
You
go.
know?
Woo!
And now, as I said,
He said the word.
we'll execute. And if we execute, then we're going to be in a great place. And that's what we're excited about.
Yo, get your camera in here.
Coach Richard Sines, Fox 10, congratulations. Welcome to the Valley. It was mentioned, you know, you got the support of Devin Booker. Other people have also come out and kind of backed you.
Draymond Green backs him?
It seems not easy to impress. You know, Darvin Ham.
That don't help me none.
You know, colleagues, you know, you got players here supporting you. How exciting would it be for you to prove these people, including Mr. Gregory, right with this decision?
Yeah, I'm not into proving people right, you know, changing the doubter's mind.
You should be. We're going to need you
Don't think
to.
like that, to be honest with you. It's what I do on a day-to-day basis, who I want to help. That's important to me. And you do have to be process-oriented. In this business, you have to be process-oriented. There's so many highs and lows to it. Are we getting better? That's what I'm concerned about.
Are we getting better?
Elliot Polikoff, Arizona's Family, 3TV, CBS 5. Congratulations. Welcome to the Valley.
Thanks.
You've
Sorry, guys, I have
obviously made
to
this next step in your career and become a head
add
coach
in Sundo,
for, a while. And
his
what
camera.
excited you specifically about this Suns opportunity and the chance to be a part of this organization?
Again, I think, you know, a lot of the things that BG has already stated, and this is an exciting opportunity because
Well, look
first off,
ugly.
the players, you know, it's always the players, and it's the actual organization. And I know that I have the support from above me, that we can do this step by step, to do it the right way, to build this thing out. I think as you look
Why does
across
bro look
the
different?
NBA, there's so much parity
I
around
don't
the
know.
league. And even where Indiana was a couple years ago to where they are now, you know, the team in Cleveland, 16-win jump. We can make that jump, but we're going to do it in a systematic way. And I know BG, Matt, Josh, we all share the same thinking that we can do this in a systematic way, step by step, to build this thing out right.
Your boy.
Hey, Jordan, Brendan Clean, Locked on Suns podcast. We've seen a lot of first-time head coaches recently talk about the value of experienced assistants, JJ in LA or Joe Mazzulla, people like that. How are you thinking about building out a staff, surrounding yourself with people you can trust and maybe who have that experience?
Yeah, I think even in the process, this comes up, and then, you want your staff
High
to be
character and high
character and
care.
high care. So who they are as people,
What an interesting saying.
loyal, trustworthy, and then do they do the work? And if we can consistently find that in our staff, we're in good shape. And I'll also say I have so much respect for the coaching profession that we know how hard it is to rise in this profession and how hard it is when some type of change like this occurs. So we're going to take our time. We're going to fill this thing out right, again, to help our group, help our players, make sure we're all on the same page. But yes, we will be building our staff out throughout the month.
Hey, Jordan, over here. David Brown with the Associated Press. Congratulations on the job. Excuse me.
Soul Collector said they don't have a chat on the Suns feed. They turned the chat off.
Michigan State ties. I was just wondering from your perspective how much that connection meant with Brian,
Or just ask
with Matt, and what you think
Crazy
that
squ-
brings
well.
to the table.
So I'll say it like this.
Oh, yes.
I've earned the right to be here. I've spent 20 years of working as hard as I possibly can to be here in this spot. I've been around great people, great coaches, great players to allow me to grow, put me in tough spots to see if I can get better. So I know I've earned this opportunity. I'm going to work as hard as I can from here on out to prove that I am here for the right reasons and I've earned this opportunity. So
Have you?
that excites me.
Have you?
That excites me going forward.
How about you excite
Greg
us?
Cooley, ABC 15 Sports right here. How excited are you just to step into that head coaching role for the first time? And you've been down the road as an assistant, and I know you've coached Summer League, but what is this like for you, for your family, just to be the head coach of the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, I mean, incredible. It's, like I said earlier, it's just the whole week in general, just incredibly thankful for the journey and the people that you've been with. And then it quickly shifts to what's next and how can I help? We have the draft coming, we have Summer League coming, so that's where my mind is. I'll enjoy the evening with my family. They leave tomorrow, and we'll get back to work.
Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports again. This is a question for the both of you. In the past, we've seen and heard that the head coaches are involved with the front office in terms of personnel decisions and talking that through. Jordan, you went through a list of philosophies that you want the Suns to play with. How does that conversation look in terms of moving forward and what the roster might look like, roster moves, that sort of thing?
Want me to go? A lot of that goes back to
Here we go.
the
Gwegawe.
piece of us working together on a daily basis.
Give us your canned answers. They're Hawaiian.
Communication piece of
Say it again. Say aligned.
this is our style of play. Is there someone out there that fits great for our style of play that's available?
Like if they're aligned or not?
As Jordan mentioned, a draft coming up. We've had a couple draft workouts this week that Jordan's been able to be at. He sits in on the debrief meeting afterwards. So again, one of the best parts of this is the relationship and partnership that we're going to have on a daily basis. And with that comes personnel questions and team makeup and different things like that.
Alignment, you might
and
say.
when you have a common goal and a shared vision, that makes it a lot easier.
Coach, yes, I'm sorry, Brian over here. Just to piggyback off what Gerald said, obviously, Jordan, you have a relationship with Kevin Durant, but then obviously trying to move forward. What's the process in terms of tying the two, that you may move forward without Kevin, and yet he's trying to build a team?
Well, again, we look at all our players, and Jordan and I have talked, and as you mentioned, Jordan has obviously thought the world of Kevin, has a great relationship, coached him the whole bit. But as you know, I appreciate you asking the question. I know you have to ask it.
Don't worry about appreciating it. Just answer it.
Contract negotiations, player contracts, and so forth. We don't discuss those. But it's
That's not the
something that,
question he
in
asked
terms
you,
of
though,
our team and so
Brian.
forth, we're always talking about building our team.
Hey, Jordan.
What kind of answer was that,
around
bro?
the league, what are the most important steps to
That's
building
not the
trust and
question you were
relationships with
asked.
your players?
Yeah, great question. I think that is the most important piece to coaching. And to be in the NBA, you obviously have to be talented. I think right now in the NBA, you not only have to be talented, but you have to have high character. So initially, everyone, will be respectful of the position, but it quickly turns to, can I help them? And once they know you can help them, that helps the relationship. That helps you coach them once that relationship is formed. So when I prove and when our staff proves that we can help them, that's when you got a good thing going. And that's where we're going to be building to.
Jordan Hayden Silva with Clutch Points. First off, nice to meet you. Congrats on the job, Brian. Nice to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Kind of piggybacking off of Shane's point about relatability. I'm just curious from your perspective when it comes to relating to players.
You know what we
when
need
you are
right
able
now?
to relate to them on a personal level. How does that impact or sort of
A different
elevate
team to
them
root
on the
for?
basketball court?
I think like any good team.
What's that?
And
That sound from
trying
SpongeBob.
to
Oh,
find a way to
brother. This guy
best
stinks.
and for, most common now that I use is children. It's an easy way to connect with players. And then the young players, it's your experiences, But it all comes back to time. Spending time
Look,
with these
you can't-
guys, developing that relationship. So then when something
The,
goes a
the
little
third
off,
one in 3 years really
then
hits
we
different,
quickly
don't
get
it?
Everyone back on the same page, moving in the right direction. But
This is like the third time your husband tells you he's going to take out the trash. You're like, okay, buddy. Okay. You said that twice
One
now.
thing real quick along those same
How about you
lines
just
was,
go do it and stop
during this
yapping
process,
about
even
it?
Kind of before it started, met with a lot of our players, talked to some other players on other teams throughout.
I
the
assume
league
we're all gay men
in
with
terms of
husbands.
Just a profile for what a successful head coach would look like in the NBA right now, and it was amazing how connected those answers were. And I met with our young guys to our older guys. Players
You
today
did,
want
Brian?
quality. They want to know that their head coach is a good guy. That there's values and that they're
I don't
gonna
think they
be
care about that
treated
much.
in a valuable way, not just them as players, but them as people.
Maybe that part.
And the other people.
Good
around the
point,
organization
Brian.
are treated
You
that
got
way by
me.
the head coach. They want substance. They want to know, as Jordan just said, that this guy knows what he's talking about and can help them grow as a player while also incorporating that growth into the success of a team. We have a Hall of Famer.
Bro,
the
he
Suns
talks like
organization.
Kamala
He had a
Harris.
Great line. He told me, substance commands the room now. And I took that to heart as going through this process. They want a coach who's honest. Players may not always like to hear what's being told, but they want an honest evaluation.
We are beginning our team's journey, and that journey has just begun.
So as we
Type
went
shit.
through it, every time I went through this, that's Jordan Ott. That's the guy sitting right here. That's the guy that when I went through the characteristics with our current players, and as I said, players around the league, because I wanted a different perspective, that's exactly what we got.
Two more questions and a
When you look at
photo
your
op.
extensive player development background, you just mentioned the draft workout with Book. Over your time, what are some of the key attributes that you found in those spaces that have helped not only evaluate players before you get them, but then afterwards in developing them? And how involved do you plan to be with the next couple of weeks in the draft coming up?
Yeah, just over time, it's the guys that have high character. This is a competitive league, and you have to trust that that player is going to do exactly what they say, or it doesn't work. So having high character is very important to me and to us. The other piece is having great professional habits. Again, coming back to the work, showing up on time, treating people with respect, knowing that there's something bigger than just yourself. And then just over time, that work with the high character that you have tends to give you a chance because, it's incredibly tough to be an NBA player. It's incredibly tough to survive for multiple years in this league. So those two things is what we will look for, what I'm most excited about looking for in the future, the draft. And that's, I've only been here a couple of days, so I've seen a couple draft workouts. I'm coming late into this process, but yeah, that's what we want the Phoenix Suns to be about.
Coach, Richard Sines over here. You talked about earning the right to be here. When you look at your path, it's pretty obvious, starting out in the video room in Atlanta, a room that's produced guys like Eric Spoelstra and David Griffin who have been pretty successful. When you look at your grind that you've grinded over the years, how much do you think that has prepared you for this particular moment where, you maybe say I could take something from this coach here or this coach here or this situation with this team here and kind of make it into my own with this opportunity for you?
Yeah, so I think it always starts with the work in the video room. To succeed in the video room, you're going to have to work long hours, be available, be there when no one is. I think a part of being in the video room, you have to be curious, to learn, to know that you don't have all the answers. I think I have carried that with me. I definitely think in Cleveland, Kenny's the most curious man in basketball. There's other ways to learn about the game, but also best practices in the training room, best practices in the weight room. That's what I strive to do, is to be curious and continue to learn. I think my path has taught me to be process-oriented. Again, highs and lows, wins and losses. The help of analytics has helped me there. Maybe not quite as bad as you think you are, or maybe not quite as good. The part of analytics has helped me there. Just stay steady, just continue to get better. And then to be consistent. So you can work, but it's hard to consistently work to make yourself better and stand out. And then I think the last piece of my journey that when you sit back and you think about, we're all competitors. It just comes out in different ways. So having that competitive edge that fuels your fire, that, there's going to be people out there. And we want all to get to the mountaintop. And without that fuel, that day-to-day grind of it all, it's really hard to get better and be successful. So when I look over my journey, I'm proud of how it's gone and now where it's going to go. But those things aren't going to leave me. They're always going to be a part of me, and for that I'm thankful.
Thank you all for the questions. We're going to clear the stage real quick.
Oof. So you missed about, I would say, 12, 13 minutes of it, but you didn't miss much, man, because it was just very, very bland. I would say almost, do you think on purpose? I mean, I guess my first complaint, and it won't all be complaints. It won't all be complaints. My first complaint is that was a 30-minute tight set. Hey, guys, it's 30 minutes. Cut him off. No comments. Absolutely no comments in the chat. Shut the chat down.
So, yes. My issue, just from what I watched, like you said, I missed it. But when I listened to him talk, there was... I don't mind the coach. Really, he really just sounds like one of those guys, like he has no charisma. Okay, that's fine. You're a head coach. I don't need you to have charisma. Just coach ball, right?
You don't want him to have some riz?
He has no charisma, which is fine. He knows ball. But I said it in the chat. He seems like one of those dudes that's like super nerdy, super focused on what he's doing, super smart, super process oriented, that just has no charisma. Like those dudes are just really, really good at what they're doing, but they're like so good at what they're doing, like they have no, like, I'm not gonna say people skills, but like they're just very dry, and you know what I mean? Like he just seemed like that. Will he be a yes man? I don't know. I think Brian Gregory's the yes man. That's what I think. That's the one who does concern me. From what I've heard from Jordan Ott, he sounded just fine to me. Like I liked what he had to say. The stuff he had to mention there toward the end, being process oriented and all that stuff, and being focused on that. I like that stuff. Absolutely do like that stuff. He's just dry. It's Gregory who I'm worried about, dude. It's Gregory who I'm worried about.
Is it a personality thing with Gregory? Is that what we're really dealing with? Because all we have to judge him on right now is his personality.
I don't think it's that
and credentials,
lack of experience in the league, he's the one who is like you joke about saying he is the DEI hire. Like he is the one that got his job because he knew Matt Ishbia, and he's even said that on record.
Oh, he's
Jordan
proud of it, bro. He wears it like a badge.
Jordan Ott is the one that we mentioned, in our video that we put out earlier with Eric from PHNX. Shout out him. Like, as we mentioned in that one, he's been in the league for a while. He's been doing tape. He's been doing analytics. He's been an assistant coach here and there under Atkins, Steve Nash. We've listed his credentials. Like he's been around the league for a while. So like you can't deny the fact that he's been in the league and it's time for him to get a head coaching job. It just so happened that he had a Michigan State connection and he ended up being here because of that. Because of
where
GM is. Right.
Let me give you a little
I'm not
pushback in a
with
second.
him.
Go ahead.
I get that. So I'm not entirely concerned with him. Like from what I've heard from him, cool. It's a wait and see with him. It's really just the Gregory situation. That's the thing that I'm concerned with. And like you said before, any answer he would give was just a non-answer. And like you mentioned, like the way he spoke of a certain person who
beautiful
last year,
who should be president. Right? Go on.
But anyway, like he just that sort of So that's my concern, man. Is just him. I think Jordan Ott being and it also depends on who he puts around him and staff wise, right? Like you can be the nerd guy all you want, but who's going to be around you in that staff? Are you going to have somebody who is going to be the personality, who is going to be able to express that, who is going to be able to quote unquote relate to the players? You know what I mean? Like that's another thing too. We don't know what that staff's going to look like yet. So we have to wait on that part. But as far as Jordan Ott, from what I heard, I was fine with. It's just Gregory who I'm worried about now.
So we both, for the most part, agree on Gregory. We'll come back to him. But just to give you a little pushback, and I'm not saying I disagree because I do like Jordan. Like I don't even want to say I like Jordan Ott. What I'll say is I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that is due. Okay,
yeah, that's all.
I'm trying to. But we're sitting here saying like he's earned it. He should be a coach. It's his time. Well, everyone's saying that. It's not just you.
I'm just saying like it's not like they just hired some dude from an assistant from Michigan State.
I agree.
Who has no NBA experience.
I agree. But
they hired somebody who absolutely has been in the league for a while, who has been in the background doing stuff. So yes, that's what I'm saying.
But riddle me this, and be completely honest. Answer within 2 seconds. Do not think. Just answer yes or no.
Okay, go ahead.
If Johnny Bryant was from Michigan State, would he be our coach?
It's a great question.
And your heart knows the answer. If he was from Michigan State and Jordan Ott was from Florida A&M.
Here's my answer. More than likely, from what we've seen.
So
that's the only answer I can give you. At the end of the day, I can't. What at least the person that we just heard and the stuff that he just said and the fact that he has been in the league, I can't argue against any of that. But I absolutely I can see what you're saying. Like, hey, if Johnny Bryant was the one that was from Michigan State, do you think he'd have a job? I would say, judging by the moves that have happened, the front office moves, the GM hire, the whole scouting department, the people who are in charge of the organization, I can't say no. You know what I mean?
I'm
So
trying to be
I can't say
intellectually
no.
honest. I'm just
No,
trying
no,
to be
no,
honest
you're
and play
absolutely right.
both sides.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, bro. You're absolutely right. I can't argue with that. And I would say if Johnny Bryant was from there, he probably would have the job. But I'm also not going to sit here and say Jordan Ott doesn't have the resume or the credentials to be a coach. It's not like it was just like 100%. They hired a dude from Michigan State because they wanted him. It's like dude did put in some work, right? Dude did put in some work.
What you said that made me think of that is when you're saying like the things that we're all saying, which is he's qualified, he's ready, it's his time to be a coach. That's the prevailing sentiment. My thing is, well, what the F is Johnny Bryant? What the F is Chris Quinn? What the F is Micah Nori from the T-Wolves? What are they? They're all literally, potentially further along in the process of being that guy who's ready for that job, except they don't have a Spartan badge next to their name. And so I don't want to just choke down this meal that's being forced to me that I don't necessarily know. Thank you. And he just texted me something I'm not going to read, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe that is it. But it's just not so cut and dry to me that, hey, man, it's just Jordan Ott's time. He's just busting at the seams with it.
Me and you are on the same page on that one. And I even said that, too. Like, it's hard for me to just not ignore the fact that he was a Michigan State guy and that they went through this. And then, like, what wasn't keeping them from having these guys on the list like they weren't a Rooney Rule? You know what I mean? Like, they're on the list and we did interview them, but we were always going to go with this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
a possibility.
And I can't argue with you on that one. I absolutely cannot argue with you on that one. But that being said, this guy Ott has been around. We can't just be like, oh my gosh, he isn't qualified, because he is, and we have to wait and see how he does. And so back to my point, hearing what he said, I was fine with. The personality is one thing. I'm sure he'll get better. He just seems like, again, like a dry dude that just likes basketball, who's really smart, and just that way. I'm just really concerned with Brian Gregory at this point, because he is the one who isn't experienced in his job. And to be fair, neither is Matt Ishbia, as he just bought the team, because he's new, he's a new owner too. But it's like, that's my concern, is the Bartelsteins, the Ishbias, and the Gregorys. Like, the people at the top who are inexperienced, more so less than this guy they just hired.
You brought up the video that we did with Eric Ruby from PHNX. Thank you guys for checking that out. That video is doing really good for us. If you guys like that podcast style content, let us know. We're going to try to keep up doing that if that's what you guys want. But shout out to Eric for coming on. He was great, and that was a really good conversation, a really fun conversation. He was fun. And you mentioned something that he said, but not the point I thought you were going to go with. The point I thought that you were going to go with what he said was like the sentence he said before what you said, which was Brian Gregory would not even get an interview with any other NBA team as a GM. He would not get a GM interview. He wouldn't even get a sniff from any other owner, yet he gets the job right away because of him being a sycophant.
Yeah, which is why...
My word, not Eric's.
Which is why he's the one that I'm worried about the most, because he's the one that's the least qualified for his position on this team. It's him, and then of course Bartelstein, his history being from Detroit. Like, those are my worries. Jordan Ott being a coach, I think he'll be okay. He'll be fine.
Now, I also want to once again be honest and play the other side of the argument for ourselves as a thinking exercise, and for the audience who are in the chat right now thinking the same things. I don't want to just paint it one way. So here's the other way you look at it. Brian Gregory's been in college basketball for the last 30 years. He probably has fresh on the tip of his tongue the taste of what these college athletes are looking like in the here and now. He's been there 30 years. He's closer to the college game than probably a lot of GMs in the NBA who have had a lot of other things on their plate. But Brian Gregory has been in this college game for a long time, and he's right there in the thick of it. And they say he was pounding the table for Ryan Dunn. They say he was pounding the table for Tamani Kamara. You know, they say he's the reason why our draft was such a hit last year. And that was like what got him the leg up for the job. So if that's true, I like those things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm just being a dickhead to Brian Gregory. I'm leaving the door open that I'm a dickhead, because that's a very real possibility. I could just be jaded, angry, and bitter, and he doesn't exactly rizz me up, and neither does Jordan Ott, but it's like, bro, you know, you can't win this press conference unless you just come across as awesome, and you didn't do that. But that doesn't mean you can't win our hearts in the long run. These two can win our hearts.
No, that's for sure, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying. Like with Ott, it's a wait and see. I even said that about Brian Gerg. I said either this is going to be the greatest GM hire in Suns history or the worst.
Well, that sounds like you're setting him up to be the worst, because we all know it ain't gonna be the greatest.
Well, you don't.
That is such a straw man.
You don't know that. You don't. Well, you're right. You're right. Maybe I shouldn't go that route. That's just the way I'm thinking it, though. But you're right about the fact that he was able to, and he was pounding the table for the young guys that we got, and he does seem to have a fresh eye for younger talent, and that's going to be needed, especially for the next how many years we have now with no control of our draft picks till what, 2030. So the next 5 years or so, like that's going to be very important and a good quality to have, him and the scouts anyway. So
can I get to Roy's dono? I feel bad.
What did Roy Dono say?
Roy gave us a dono, $1.99 dono earlier in the stream. Thank you, little man. We love you. You're our sweet little boy. All right, you're our sweet baby boy, who we've known since, what was he like? He was like Metro's age when we met. Not really, but close. He said, taking Ott's words with a grain of salt. I think we're taking Gregory's words with a boulder of salt, and Ott's with a grain, right?
Yeah, again, I don't want to sound like I broke a record, but Ott's the least of my worries right now. He seemed fine. And if the rumors are true, or if the reports are true that Booker did want him, then I think it'll be okay, at least as a coaching candidate and everything. It's really just Brian Gregory as being an experience.
What's your biggest issue with Gregory? Just his experience, or
just the experience and the way he got
talks?
The job? And there was some other people. There were some other GMs out there that we possibly could have interviewed that they just didn't go with, and that's the main concern.
Like they didn't back up a Brinks truck for Bob Myers, the Golden State architect.
Yeah, and stuff like that. They just went straight with this guy, and that just gives me just like, hey.
They gave us, we have a GM at home. We're in such a bad way. Things couldn't be going worse for us this last season. And the answer that Ishbia came up with was, I'll take over. It's like, whoa. You, sir, have been gaslighting us since day one, saying that you weren't involved. That's the thing that I don't feel like we've discussed on this channel very much. And I'm sure you saw this recently in the news, but we haven't really talked about it, is that Ishbia has clear-cut come out. Did you hear about the memo he sent out to his employees?
No, let's hear that.
Okay, he sent out a memo to his employees, and I'll paraphrase it and try not to butcher it. He says, hey, everyone, how's it going? Matt Ishbia here. First of all, I'm not broke. They're lying. All right. I got plenty of money. So don't worry about that. That's a whole nother issue we also haven't talked about. Apparently he's going broke. Sundo. Apparently he's belly up. He's turning into a sarver, but he says, just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to do things different around here because I'm different. I'm a different type of guy. I ain't built like them, okay? I'm built Ford tough. And so I tried to play it the nice way, okay? Like, you're going to be shocked when you read it and see how accurate I'm actually being, even though I'm being facetious. I'm going to do things my way now since I tried them your way. I did what I was supposed to do. I played the good guy. You know, I came in. I paid you guys the money you wanted. I hired the experts that you guys wanted me to hire, but they failed us, and it wasn't me. So don't look at me, because I didn't have anything to do with that abomination. Hey, Matt, didn't you push through the Durant trade? Shut up! Like, he wants to act like he didn't have anything to do with anything that got us here, and is literally saying to our faces and his employees' faces, I'm taking over now. That's the answer. It's like, bro, you skipped a step. You did it with the homegrown GM. You did it with James Jones and your boyfriend Bartlestein and all your other yes men. You did that already. You let them have control. The next step is not you take over with all of your inexperience. The next step is you bring in a good GM or a great GM, someone who has a proven track record of some type of winning history. Not you skip straight to you start driving the car. Bring in a proven driver. But no, he's letting us know officially now. So remember when you made that video called The Matt Ishbia Show, where you were talking about this is all going to be done. Okay.
Fast, moved off.
He would have you believe that that's not what happened, but now it is. Now would have been the perfect time to put that video out. So how do you feel about him taking over?
It'll either be really good or really bad. That's my answer, bro. That's my answer, right? I'm reading the memo right now.
Read it to me, please.
So let me start with the most important point. The Phoenix Suns will do things very differently than most other NBA franchises. I will be extremely
Stop,
active
please. Can I stop you? And we can go through this line by line that we need to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Matt, I don't need you to invent the wheel, bub. Okay? This isn't wholesale mortgages, all right? This is, what are we doing, bro? We're not going to do things the way that successful teams do it. No shit. Go on.
I will be extremely active in the decisions and management of this organization on and off the floor. While I
whoa, does on mean like he's going to be calling plays or telling? Okay,
no,
go on. Sorry.
It means he'll be in the stands again, holding the ball from Joker again. Okay, that's what that means.
Okay, good. I like that.
While I won't be reviewing film, designing offenses, or running the draft room, I will be deeply involved in ensuring that basketball operations, like every other area of our organization, is performing at a high level. That's really vague. I will say that much. That's really vague because how are you going to be making sure? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to be making sure?
How about you make sure
until the results are bad?
How about you make sure Bartlestein keeps his dick in his pants? Allegedly. Go on.
I'm aware that this approach is different from most other NBA franchises. I'm not the conventional NBA owner, and I don't want to be. I've tried running the typical NBA owner playbook, hiring the experts, signing the checks, and getting out of the way. And none of us were happy with the outcome. Well, you traded away your franchise players, a bunch of young dudes.
And didn't he let us know? Didn't they make sure once we got Durant that he got the credit for that? So now he wants to backwards engineer this story to where he didn't claim the credit because James Jones was on record saying, I'm not giving up McHale in this deal. And he said, go ahead and push the chips in. Go on.
Yes. So that I will add that, like, none of us were having the outcome. Like,
gaslight.
You got rid of McHale and Cam Johnson, and we got rid of a bunch of future players for that guy and that's what happened. You got rid of your core. So there's that. None of us were having the outcome. Making the playoffs 2 out of 3 years and only winning 1 playoff series is not good enough for this franchise and this community. I like how he keeps bringing up the Suns community and the fan base. Like, I'm doing this all
ticket sales.
Right. So here's the deal.
Don't stop buying jerseys. Don't stop coming to the games. I'm in control now. We're bringing the Valley jerseys back. You peasants like those Valley jerseys, right? Well, we knew you liked them last year, but we weren't going to give them to you because we wanted to get some more money out of you. But to make things okay, because I hired some sycophants and some yes men, we'll give you the jerseys you actually like. Will you buy them? Will you buy them?
Concessions are cheaper. And concessions are cheaper.
Go on.
So anyway, that was the end. That was the end of the statement. This was basically a bunch of nothing. Like, we kind of already knew that this was happening. So now you're just putting it out to that, hey, I'm in charge for real now. Yeah, like the whole part where he's like, none of us were happy with the outcome. It's like, hey, bro, you fired a really good coach because you didn't see eye to eye with him. You traded away two really good cornerstone pieces and kind of wrecked put us in the put us in the second apron and really killed us there because you wanted to make a splash when you got here, and make headlines, and it just didn't work out. And so for you to say none of us were happy with the outcome, like,
he's right about that.
Like, you're right about that, but you were the reason why that happened.
Maybe it's somewhere in between, man. Maybe he just did the one move.
Maybe the Kevin Durant didn't move, but the Bradley Beal move.
Yeah, like, we're supposed to believe that he didn't have anything. I mean, then again, that is a James Jones special, bro. Forgo young talent, forgo picks to grab a shooter, someone who can shoot.
Yeah, but that was the opposite of James Jones' move because he got younger.
Oh, getting rid of Chris Paul?
Yes. That was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, but how many picks, yeah.
So that was a joke.
I'm just confused.
Either way, he's gonna be in charge. So now we know who to blame. So at least now we know. Like, we can't be like, well, is it James Jones's fault or now we know, right? Now we know. He just basically put a target on his back for the fan base to know exactly who they need to blame when everything goes downhill. All right. He's gonna be in there making us cry. We know exactly who to point our finger to. You know what I mean?
At least he finally is putting a target on his back, and like,
that's what I'm saying. Now we know. Hey, this is all gonna be on Ishbia, Bartlestein, Gregory, the good old boys from Michigan State.
I think it's
say that.
I think it's all on. I think it's all on Ishbia. I think Ishbia has officially entered.
I mean, that's how the branch works, right? Ishbia, Bartlestein, Gregory, and they're all together in this together. But he's at the top, so yes, we know exactly who to blame now.
To me, Gregory is like one of those little fish that like cling on to a whale and clean the plankton off of them and stuff. It's just like he's just like a little bystander. Ishbia is everything to me now. Ishbia is owner. He's everything just shy of being the coach. But he will be trying to strip the ball from
Jerry
Joker.
Jones.
He is not just Jerry Jones. Not just like a secret Jerry Jones. He's an open, admitted, full-throated Jerry Jones pounding his chest saying, I'm Jerry Jones and I'm proud of it. That's different than like secretly running the team and making decisions, but being like, oh no, my GM's a GM. Gregory has already said, I am not shy about saying I'm only here because I am in his cell phone. He's got my number. He knew me from years ago. That's why I'm here. And HBO's like, yeah, I'm in charge now. I tried to do it the other way, but I'm going to be making the decisions. I'm going to be making the decisions on the court for all you're concerned. So to me, I don't even feel like I need to judge Gregory. Gregory's like an aftersight to me. To me, he's
an extension of HBO, sure.
But remember, we thought that's what James Jones was like. Pretty much, we're like, look, we don't even think James Jones is making any decisions. I know Gregory ain't making decisions. That's what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
I don't believe Gregory's other than he narrowed down the coaches to what Ishbia wanted. I mean, I guess I'm willing to believe that point blank statement that Ishbia only had interviews with the final 2 or 3 candidates. Okay. You know, what a shocker. You brought him a Michigan State guy and that's who got picked.
Yeah. Well, man, see how this goes, man. We'll have to wait and see how the season goes. We have draft coming up, summer league and free agency. We'll see how the moves go. We have the KD trade that's supposed to happen. Keyshawn asked, why was KD not on the bottom with the team? Because apparently he wasn't present for this. Well, obviously, for obvious reasons. Bro's probably getting traded. Actually, it's not even probably. It's like that. I'm pretty sure it's what's going to happen. And so.
Oh, he's talking about the graphic on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I took him off because it literally seems that likely that he's gone.
You replaced him with the coach.
I put Jordan Ott in there. I put our baby boy Jordan Otter in there. All right.
That's hilarious, dude. Anyway, yeah, I just feel like Katie's. The reports are he's getting traded. So
it's like
we'll see how that goes.
It's like basically guaranteed. You know, they asked Brian Gregory, you know, what's it like? You got a new coach coming in and he's trying to build a team and build a winning culture, but at the same time, you're trading away. You're going to be moving Kevin Durant. Like, how are you juggling that? And he's like, well, you know, alignment. And it's like absolutely no. It's almost like he was at a different press conference, bro. His answers, I don't want to say that they were nonsensical, but they weren't answers to direct questions. They were politician type answers. You can talk to her if you need to. I can go to the chat. Let's see what the people are talking about here. Norman says best case scenario as far as KD trade would be a trade with the Spurs. I don't know if you've seen what the market is looking like right now, man, but I think they are like the overwhelming favorites. Like it is. And I was thinking about it. Is it possible that we've allowed that sort of thing to leak on our end so that other teams get the message, hey, the Spurs, they're serious, and here's what they're coming up with. So you have a little bit of time. We've got a deal in place, but I definitely think that could be like to get other teams ready to start making their offers now because we do have something, you know, slightly in place. And I don't think they're going to only work with the Spurs. I think another team could step up and say, oh, hey, you know that Jaden McDaniels fella that you guys want so bad, but we, the Minnesota Timberwolves, have been acting like he's untouchable? Maybe we could go, maybe, if you guys give us another pick, it's like, oh, so you guys are willing to talk Jaden McDaniels. Terrific. And that's just that's like a hopium dream of mine. Like, I'm not saying that's actually what's happening, but that, and then insert other player, like, same scenario with the Rockets. Like, the Rockets might be like, oh, you guys have the Spurs? That is a decent deal. Maybe maybe we are willing to come up off of Tari Eason, who we've been acting like is completely untouchable. You know, I think that's where we're at right now. Roy, great question. Thank you for the dono. Says, is Booker part of the Michigan Mafia? LOL. A lot of people bring that up, that it's like it's not just Gwegowy and Jordan Ott and Bjardelstein and all the others that are from Michigan. It's also Booker. But Booker's been here since freaking forever. So it's like, I know he's from Michigan, but to me that just doesn't really track. Like, that's not what I think of when I think of like the Michigan Mafia. But I know some people do. You know, he's certainly not going to put a stop to Michigan people being brought in, though. Meatloaf says, what grade do we give Ott? Flimsy, halfy, or vein pulsing stiff? Definitely not a vein pulser. No. I say he's definitely more of like a half chub, you know. He's slightly awake, you know. Bragsy says we need a young star for KD like Asar or hella picks, at least for 3 firsts and a bunch of players. So Bragsy, the thing about that is, because, and I agree, I want picks. And Gary was telling me, Spurs fan Gary was telling me that the Spurs will likely want to come off of picks rather than high-end talent. They would actually unload some picks. You know, that's the way they move. So that's on the menu. But in order to match salaries, players have to be traded that make enough money to equal up to $54 million. So, or 55, whatever it is. So once you add up that talent, like say you're giving up a Vassell, who the Suns could offload, they don't have to keep him, or in my hopes a Sohan, or, you know, the Harrison Barnes contract and stuff like that. Once they give up that much money, exclude Harrison Barnes, because he's the type of player, if you're putting him in the trade, you need to put picks with it. But I don't think they're going to give us Sohan, Vassell, and Keldon Johnson, and then a bunch of picks. I think they would be like, yeah, we'll give you the 14th, and we're going to reroute it, and someone else is going to send us stuff back. Like, it's just tough because KD makes so much money, and you have to match that. The Haunty Kiwi says, high-end talent. What high-end talent? They only have bad players except for Wemby. I don't believe that at all. The Spurs are a good team. I think people sleep on Devin Vassell because he's on a team full of other people who get to touch the ball more than him, and I think if he was the main scorer, he'd average 23, 24 points a game. If he was on a team where they needed him to score, he'd be a 20 to 25-point scorer a game. He's that dynamic to me. Sohan is a clamper, and you put Sohan on the other wing with Ryan Dunn, and you have your defensive lockdown locks, man. Like, that would be disgusting for the future. He can also run point in like an Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets style way. He can bring the ball up and get the ball to Booker, which is a weird thing that he brings to the table. And I mean, he's basically a baby Rodman. And that's the alignment future that the Suns have talked about. Players exactly like that. And then Keldon Johnson comes in. He's a little bit streaky shooting, not as bad as some of the other, not as bad as Ryan Dunn is streaky. He's a better shooter than that. He's big, he's beefy, he's tough-nosed, he's talented, he can get to the rim for us. He's a smart, heady player. I know you guys don't watch a lot of the Spurs because who of us do? But I'm telling you, they've got talent. When you're considering that Kevin Durant is 36, they've got talent to match that, in my opinion.
any trade with the Spurs for me is to start with that 14th pick.
Yeah. Because I don't think they give up the 2. And for anybody hoping it's going to be Rookie of the Year Castle, I got a bridge that I'd like to sell you. Okay. Because it's not happening.
For me, he's got to start with the 14th pick, and then you can talk about some talent if they're really that desperate to get him. Obviously, we're going to pick up Harrison Barnes. We're going to have to, just because he's going to be the older player that they're going to want to get rid of, and it
makes money work.
But yeah, but maybe you get
I guarantee you,
but it has to. But I need that. But I need that pick. That it has to start with that.
It works if you do straight up Vassell, just for the record, Vassell, Sohan, Johnson. That works money-wise. It doesn't have to be Barnes. I've done it in the trade machine 5 times.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the player they're going to want to give up.
Yeah, they're going to want to give him up. And if that's the case, 14 me.
Yes.
You have to 14 me.
Exactly. So we'll see about that. So what questions were asked in the old chat?
Chris is saying he'd rather have the defender before Vassell. I think you'd be getting both. You'd be getting a scorer. And I know he's a 2. We have Booker in that spot. We don't need to double up. Unless he doesn't mind coming off the bench, in which case I'd take Vassell over Bradley Beal 10 times out of 10. But he's a movable piece, people. You can move Vassell for a first. You can move Vassell for a point guard that fits your scheme. Don't think of these players as locked in just because they get traded to the Suns.
In reality, my ideal trade is with the Rockets, if we're being honest. You figure out a way to get whoever and some of our picks back. That's for me, that's the ideal one, to get your control back.
Roy has a great comment here, and I hope to God that.
Let me look. You know what? I was actually going to look that up.
The Knicks up their offer.
Before you ended the stream.
See, bro, the Knicks are in a tough position, and I am the Knicks GM in the Blazers Uprise mock off season. So I'm running the Knicks. So I actually know exactly what it takes money-wise to get Mikal to the Suns. And it is difficult. It can be done, but it likely is a 3-team trade. But the question is, they kind of made an ass of themselves because they traded players and 5 hear me out here, 5 first-round picks for Mikal. So when it comes time to trade Mikal, hypothetically, if they ever were to, they need to recoup either as close to 5 firsts as they can, or they need to get a player that is so great that it makes them not so angry and look like idiots for giving up 5 first-round picks in the first place for Mikal. It's like, hey, well, yeah, we traded for 5 firsts, but it ended up landing us Luka. They need something like that. KD at 36. I don't think that, unless now that things are getting serious with the Spurs, they realize, okay, man, we want to make this change and we need offense, so we're going to have to do it.
I don't know. I think the Knicks just pulled a Phoenix Suns, if I'm being honest with you. Like us, they're mad that they didn't.
Why not double down, baby? Do exactly what we did. Trade Mikal for.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're at that point, and we'll see what happens. And it could happen if that's the case. But oh man, that would be something else. But again, I don't like I love Mikal, but I don't want Mikal back here.
Talk to me about Mikal, and I hate you for what you just said, and I hate everyone in the chat that feels the same way. but I'm willing to listen to it. I'm willing to hear you guys out. Can you guys tell me
Wouldn't
if,
you say that? Well,
like, Ivy's saying he doesn't want Mikhail. We get a lot of comments. You know, I
issue
felt like
with Mikhail for me right now is the contract, because he's literally in the last year of his contract. So there's no control. Like you have to pay him no matter what in the upcoming seasons. So there's that. I love Mikhail. Maybe maybe you bring him back here and he turns into the old Mikhail Bridges. Who knows?
Ivy, I just don't think they're going to give up OG. I mean, I would take OG as well in that swap, but
I wouldn't give
OG went out. OG went
it's not even that.
Went off
It's,
in the
again,
playoffs.
It's the control. It's the control of OG. OG, because here's the deal. The only reason why you get Mikhail is because Mikhail's expiring and KD's expiring, and so that's kind of a swap. You can get Robinson for the same reason. Like those contracts his contract's also expiring after this upcoming season. So like I'm looking at the contracts here to see who we can get. Anunoby is signed all the way until 28-29 season. I don't think the Knicks will do that, especially if you said they don't have picks. Like if you don't have your draft picks, you're going to want to recoup control of certain contracts. So like I see Anunoby as unmovable. I see Brunson as unmovable for the same reason, and same thing with Cat. I don't think they would move any of those guys for an older KD in an expiring contract. Also, so. I think Bridges would have to be one. Robinson would have to be one. And then you're going to have to go down the list of who else is on their team. Josh Hart, maybe, to make the money work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
I think that's the route you're looking.
If it's Mikhail, they have to come off of a combination of Mikhail, Josh Hart, who's a stud too, although he let them down in the playoffs a little bit, and Mitchell Robinson, who was a stud for them in the playoffs. I mean, he was keeping Cat off the floor. They pulled Cat for a full fourth quarter because Mitchell Robinson was so good, and they were playing them together.
Those are the type of players that you're going to be looking at for KD, all of which, except for Josh Hart, that you got to figure out a way and negotiate and can potentially walk because they're unrestricted and not restricted. You don't get right. You know what I mean? Like, now you got to look at it that way. I would much rather have the draft picks and the controllable contracts versus that, if I'm being honest with you, for KD. I would much rather have the Spurs deal or a potential Rockets deal than get me players that you have to worry about re-signing. Like, because you're not in the business of re-signing players right now. You're in the business of building and developing. And so I would much rather have the controllable contracts, if I'm being honest with you. I love Mikhail because there's just a lot of attachment there, but I would much rather have the draft picks and the controllable contracts.
I thought that the majority of people that don't want Mikhail back are like new Suns fans that have been here because they glommed on when KD got here and thought we were going to get a free easy chip. No shade, we did too. Or people that showed up after the Bradley Beal for the same reason. And they're just not, they don't remember Mikhail as a Sun. They're not attached to Mikhail as a Sun, which I shouldn't be choosing it because I am attached. That's the wrong reason to go. But I can't help, I got to be honest, I am attached to him. But I feel like they just don't remember.
Now, could you trade KD and then Mikhail shows up? Sorry, I don't mean to.
Go ahead.
I'm just thinking. Like, if you end up trading KD for some picks and then Mikhail ends up coming back, because like Devin said, we'll see what those boys are doing in 2026 because his contract is up. Then he does end up coming back. Cool. But trading for him in this situation, I don't know if that's what I would want to do.
I guess it all depends on if you're able to move Beal. Because if you're able to move Beal and get out from that.
And that's the other part of it.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of it.
Especially if you could send Beal. Man, golly, if we could have just understood what the no trade clause, I mean, not us, but if our organization would have just paused and really put pressure on Bradley Beal, like, dude, we want to bring you here. We really do. And Durant wants you and Book wants you. But your no trade clause, you've got to drop it because it is a noose around anyone's neck, and we just don't want that. We want you here. You're going to be a starter. You're going to get your glow up, which didn't happen. But, dude, no, because if we could send him to the horny Hornets or some team that just has a boatload of money, they could absorb his contract and just give us like a second round pick in the year 2092. We don't care. If we could just get rid of that contract and get out from these aprons, then bringing in Mikhail with 1 year on his contract, knowing he's partial to wanting to sign with us anyway, that he would be open to re-signing with us. We were going to go after him in 2026 anyways. Well, we brought you back that year a little bit early, and let's work on a contract. We're not hampered by Bradley Beal's insane contract anymore. We've moved off of KD. We got all the money in the world. How much do you know?
But Durant, you were able to move Beal. That's a whole different story. But we're just looking at that's not a thing. Also,
yeah.
Beal's. Yeah.
But I do hear people saying that like Mikhail's older, so I'm willing to hear the argument out of like, does he still fit this timeline? But isn't he like the same age as Booker or like how old's Mikhail? Because I know he came in a little bit
29.
older.
He's the same age as Booker.
Same age as Book, bro. I don't want to hear about age then. If he's the exact same age as Book, that's fitting the timeline.
For me, it's not about age. For me, it's just about the state of the franchise, the fact that you're going to need control, especially if you got to keep Bradley Beal for the next 2 years. You know what I mean? So like trading for Mikhail wouldn't help because at the end of the day, he's gonna be a free agency. So that would be someone you'd have to extend. So I'm looking at the way I'm looking at it is Durant's the only one moving because Beal's going to end up staying because he's not going to be able to be moved. That's kind of the way I'm thinking.
Ivy, where did that Bradley Beal to Orlando topic come from? Because if it comes from a real source, that would be great. But that reads like something that is just too good to be true. That reads like a Suns fan wet dream, bro. I'm not saying it's not real. I just need to know where that comes from because that sounds like a straight up NBA Central rumor.
I'm just looking at the roster right now, man. Like we have 10 players.
Now,
if we keep this roster as is, we have to sign dudes on minimums.
We've been in that. Yeah.
I know.
We've been molded by that.
Someone's got to get moved, dude. Someone's got to get moved.
Yeah, that's why they're moving KD because he's the only one they can guarantee they can move.
Mm-hmm. And so
Ziaco mentioned Mark
fan,
Williams.
Leaving y'all on a second. Yeah, it's not because Kevin Durant didn't do his part. It's because the owner made some crazy moves and didn't build the team well at all, or hire the right coaches for the team.
Hopefully he bounces back on his feet and gets on a team that is gonna I think the Spurs are gonna be incredible.
Kevin Durant, bro.
Yeah,
it's Kevin Durant. I don't care how old.
I'm gonna wish the best for Durant when he leaves. 100%.
You can't wish bad on Durant. Durant came here and gave us his all for 2 seasons, 3 seasons,
2.5. Yeah.
2.5 seasons, came in here and was dropping 28, 30 plus a game.
And we couldn't help him.
Gave him his all, and we couldn't help him. I have nothing
we
bad to say about Kevin Durant.
We gave him Nurkic as a teammate,
I have nothing bad to say about Kevin Durant as long as he was here. He was the healthiest of them all. Crazy to say.
Ziaca had mentioned Mark Williams in that Charlotte deal or whatever. I heard that the Suns, because we're looking for a center. One of the other topics with the Suns is they would prefer to get a center, a good center back in the trade for Durant. And I heard one center that they're looking at is Mark Williams. Not necessarily in the return but just in general. They want Mark Williams from Charlotte, bro. Just for a second,
we all want that.
Imagine getting Mark Williams, bro.
So we just
get him healthy,
on the team, bro. Oh my god,
woo! I'd love it. And Oso, that would be 3 centers.
Oso, Richards, and Mark Williams would be kind of nuts.
None of them can shoot, except
all athletic and can move, bro.
Yeah.
and Mark Williams.
Hopefully.
Oh man, I would love that. We'll see what happens there. That would be pretty neat.
I don't want to get too excited about something like that, though.
No, don't get too excited. We gotta start with Durant, bro. We gotta start with Durant. I think Beal. That's gonna be a tough move.
I like that, Alan Snow. Alan Snow says Durant to the Spurs, Vassell to the Knicks, Bridges, Barnes, Sohan, and the 14th to the Suns. We got to give the Knicks. The Knicks are going to need. I would think the Knicks. Maybe though.
Send them Grey Goose. Send them Grey Goose.
Yeah.
Because what the Knicks are gonna look for, as you mentioned, them trading all them first, they're gonna look for either controllable players for the future or
he is on a
draft
good
picks.
contract, and he's still shooting 40% from three.
Grey Goose is on a good contract for the next 3 years, and Royce O'Neal. Don't forget, you need to ship KD's best friend with him. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that too.
Bro, Jordan Ott looks terrified on screen right now. I'm not gonna lie.
That was another thing.
He looks like he's waiting to get punched in the face.
That's what I'm saying. He's just got that awkward thing about him. Like, hey, I'm a basketball coach. I don't really want to talk to people, but you're going to get used to it, bro.
He's like 2 years older than me. Like, put that in perspective. It's kind of interesting. Like, he's not that older than you, man. What is he like? Like, and he's the coach
He
now.
He definitely gave off that awkward millennial vibe. That's what I'm saying.
You think? I think he was just trying not to say anything that was gonna be too controversial. I think he was nervous. I think Brian Gregory was trying so hard not to say the word aligned, but he still said it a couple of times. Because he can't. It's one of the only words he's allowed to use by his dad, Ishbia. Hanakiwi says imposter syndrome, except he's an actual imposter. We don't know that. We don't know that.
Here, I'm looking at Houston.
Looking at moves from Houston.
Yeah, like Van Vliet and Jabari Smith. I'm just looking at players that you could get from them along with picks. That'd be like the way you have to go.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing to do because of, like, I don't know which is more tough. Probably definitely Beal. Beal's got to be more tough because Beal's contract is worse. But KD's age makes his contract a little bit tricky to move. And the one saving grace that we got this year, I think the one thing that went right for us all year, and there really only was one thing. You know what it was?
What was that?
Just happened. Giannis returning to the Bucks, making it so Kevin Durant is the top prize in free agency. It's like, look, man, if you want to get better, this is the top number one way to do it. So everybody go ahead and slug it out. You know?
Kill me for this. Houston extended Şengün. Is that what they did?
I'm not sure. I hadn't paid attention to it.
Because I'm looking right now. I don't remember Şengün having a 5-year deal. So when did he get the deals when I'm asking?
Well, how much is it worth?
It's worth, it's right now it's about, right now he's making 33, 35 the next year, 37, 39, 39. And that's
they must have just re-upped him.
That's what I'm saying. So did they just re-up him like in the middle of the season or what? Because the last time I checked, he did not have this contract.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Thoroughly confused.
Javier, you're not wrong, bro. He says, hey, Gabe, you're not trading Beal.
Absolutely.
Very, very possible. It is possible that we get stuck with him. We do have to be ready for that possibility. But my question is to you, Sundo, and to the chat. Is anyone here old enough to remember the Knicks situation with former Sun great Stephon Marbury?
You're gonna have to inform me on this one.
Woo! So Stephon Marbury, aka Starbury, was for a while he was hot, and I believe it was that he and the coach with the Knicks did not get along. There was some sort of falling out, and they basically sat Starbury, paid him a ton of money, and had him show up to the games in street clothes and said, yeah, oh, you're healthy? Don't care. Thanks. You're not playing. Oh, we're paying you a boatload? Don't care. We'd rather watch you sit there and not get to play. And everybody's like, how long can this go on? I mean, you're paying this guy all this money. Coach was like, Do you do that to Beal? Do you say, okay, bitch, you want to play it rough? You want to be a tough guy? How about this? How about we sit you and don't play you, and we just move on. We'll just eat the money, and you don't get to play basketball. You don't get to play basketball until you agree to a trade, bitch.
Here's my deal, though. I feel like Bradley Beal is the exact kind of guy to be able to do that, though. Okay, you want to pay me? Fine.
I love it.
I still hold the keys and I'm smiling. You know what I mean?
Love it. Really though, bro? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I mean, you might be right.
You could be the kind of guy to do that, bro.
But the thing is, man, he's getting up there in age. He's like 31 now. 32. He knows he only has, at very best, and we all know, for him, nah, dude, the way he gets injured, bro's got 5 years left in him, tippy whippy tops, before nobody wants it, to pay him anything more than a minimum. There is this thing, bro, of like, they say women have a biological clock. I don't, because I think women are equal, unlike you. But they say women physically get this urge of like, gotta have a kid soon, really need to do it. I have that myself with basketball. I'm 38. I know that once I hit 40, I might as well hang it up. I'm not gonna hang it up, but I'm playing as much as possible in these last years, like from 35 to 40, trying to enjoy playing the sport that I love to the very best ability I can before my body gives out. And I know that NBA players feel that way too. He's not going to want to just sacrifice years of playing basketball because he will deteriorate. He will lose it. He loves basketball, bro. He loves basketball. Whether we want to think that or not, it's his whole life. He's been playing ball since he was a baby. And he knows he's only got so many years left. At some point, his basketball clock will start ticking, and he'll be like, man, I missed the game. I want to play. Give me my money, and I'll go play somewhere where they actually want me. I mean, that's the only card we have left, right? What else can we do except acquiesce, Sundo, and let him play and let him keep the control?
I think that's
bro. How much worse are we going to be off with no Beal next year? Like, we're already planning on not winning like a chip in the next couple of years, guaranteed. If God puts his hand on us and says, I'll fix you, maybe 3 years from now we go back to being a serious contender, maybe. But we already know the next couple of years we're not necessarily winning anything of value. So what's the point? Like, what are we going to get out of Beal? Except for, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to get out of him? He plays half of the games. Half of those games, he's rusty because he doesn't play the other half of the games. And as soon as he stops being rusty, as soon as he gets hot, he steps on someone's foot and turns his ankle. Am I wrong? That's exactly what happens. So sit your fat ass on the bench. Bitch.
That was rude. But sure,
I'm just trying to be insulting.
If that's the route they're gonna go, that's the route they're gonna go. You know what I mean? And if they go that route, they go that route. I also think something in them is gonna believe that this new coach they have can definitely remedy the situation and make him serviceable. At least that's my hope, anyway. Because especially if you can't move him, you gotta get something. You gotta get him to play or do something. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get your value out of him one way or another. Because especially if you can't move him. Yeah. Can we just stop talking about Bill? Because makes me depressed.
But he's
bro. It really does.
Bro, he's the crux of everything.
I know.
He's the crux of our problems, and he's the crux of our solutions. Getting rid of him is the crux. Getting rid of him.
I think
everything started going terrible once we traded for Beal, and then the subsequent moves to get rid of Tamani for to get off of Ayton and stuff.
Yes.
So explain. So you're saying we have to get our value out of him. Explain to me what the value is.
I'm saying if they can't move him.
Well, it is the prudent thing to do. You do normally want to get value out of the money you're spending, and you don't want to waste value.
If you can't move him because of the NTC, then you're just going to deal with him being on this team for 2 more years, and you're going to have to play him. Or you do what
Why?
You sit him on the bench.
But like, finish it off. Why? Why do you have to play him?
I mean, unless you just do what you said, sit him and pay him and eat the money.
And say we don't want
literally
you.
The only 2 options. That's literally the only 2 options, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to say, yeah, fine. You don't want me. I'll just eat $52 million and sit at home with my wife and kids as she builds her business. We don't have to be in Phoenix anymore.
I'm gonna make a poll.
You're gonna make a poll.
I want to know what you guys think. Would you guys rather sit Beal until he accepts a trade, or do you want to just play him and see how that goes? No judgment.
Okay, so
no judgment. Also, guys, can you hit the like button? We only got 39 likes. We kind of forgot to shuck and jive for likes, and that's on us. That's on Sundo. I'll put it on him. Okay.
You can put it on me. You can just pull up and you let me know, because I got to make din pretty soon. I'm supposed to be making burgers right now.
That's the Sundo classic move. Show up halfway through the stream and then leave halfway through the stream.
No, I legitimately went upstairs because our AC is acting funny. I went to lay down because I went to go call the dude. And I laid there and was watching Facebook Reels.
That's an old Gary move. That's a Spurs fan Gary move.
That's legitimately what happened. Like, our AC's been kind of acting up upstairs because we have 2 different units. And so I went upstairs and just sat there, and I was like, I tried to fix it. Called the guy that installed it to see what was going on. He didn't answer. So I just started watching Reels and then fell asleep. And then finally woke up. I was like, And then I was like, oh no, the press conference started. I feel like crap, dude. That's why when you saw me show up, my eyes were all like bloodshot red and stuff, because I was still like, I can't believe I fell asleep.
Force his hand. Okay. We're going to play a little game of Would You Rather before we end. Would you rather sit Beal, force his hand,
I can't wait to see this
or
one.
play Beal?
But you already know. Ooh, okay, this is going differently than I thought it would be for now.
A lot of play Beal.
That's what I'm saying.
No judgment. You guys answer honestly. Man, I don't even know what to pick. That's the funny thing. I don't even know what to pick.
There we go. Now we're getting some votes.
I don't even know. I gotta sit here and think about it myself, man.
See, I am with Haydot here. I just, for some reason, I have this belief in me that he can, under the right coach, he can still play ball.
I know he can.
Now health is completely different, but
he won't be healthy, bro. I just, okay, he could be healthy. He could. Like Kevin Durant played a lot of games this last year. He played like Kevin Durant stayed miraculously healthy, and we would have probably thought that he would have gotten injured more because he usually does. It happens. AD had a string there of like a lot of good health after you would have thought that was impossible for Anthony Davis. So maybe it's possible, but I would put like a 20% chance on Bradley Beal playing more than 65 games. I'd say there's a 20% chance of it. And now that he hates our guts, Sundo, and he hates everyone in this chat, and he hates you, and he hates me, and he hates Ishbia because we've scapegoated him, if bro stubs a toe or if he wakes up and he feels like his hair is thinning, he will sit. He'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to let my hair grow back in.
Yeah, I got to get my fade right.
Exactly. Like, that's the type of time I think he's going to be on.
Nah, I don't know about all that. I think two things made him mad, the fans and the coach.
Hey, Dot, you sit him to make him accept a trade. Not because I want to sit him and pay him. To make him accept trade because God has a sense of humor. And through all of this, he is still sending us, he's still pinging us with trade requests for Bradley Beal, even though no trade request should exist, even though no team in their right mind should want anything to do with Bradley Beal. They shouldn't want to touch Bradley Beal with a 50-foot pole, yet they're still coming after him. The Wizards wanted him back at the deadline. The Hawks wanted him at the deadline. Charlotte might want him now. And so force him or and just because what are we getting out of him playing, man? I just don't think we're getting much out of him playing. He doesn't fit. He hates us. We hate him. Do you really want to see him back, bro? Do you really want to see specifically? I know you don't want to see what you saw last year. I know you don't want to see what you saw last year.
I want him to get moved along with Durant and get what you can. I'm just saying if he can't get moved because he refuses, and then you have to have him on the team, I still think he's a serviceable player that you're going to have on this team for 2 years. That's it. We'll see how this goes. I'm tired. I am getting exhausted talking about Bradley Beal, if I'm being honest with you, just because of stupid no trade clause in the situation that you're in, and it's exhausting. Exhausting, I say.
Well, we got a whole summer of it.
Do that because you got to match salary because we're in the stupid second apron. So it's got to get matched. So we got to at least give up. We got to take on less.
Do we have to match? Like, what if it's a team that just hypothetically has all the money in the world? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what? I don't know. I'm not leading what I think is the answer. I'm literally asking.
I mean, I know the rules got to. Yeah, you might be. I don't know that aspect. You're right. I know it's got to be close, but then also like, yeah, maybe because we're in the second apron, we can just drop. I need to look it up again.
I would think if there's a team that can afford him. I know in normal
circumstances it would have to be close, right? Because the salary's got to match. But don't quote me on that, on what it means to be in a second apron.
Hidot says, CBA expert. But you can't force him to leave. Blame whoever traded for him. I am blaming who traded for him, but
we absolutely blame.
And I would also be trying to do the only card you have left, the only position of power that you can exert over Bradley Beal is you take basketball away from him and you say, don't even show up. And this is extreme. I'm not saying it's not extreme.
If it works.
You say don't even show up to practices, don't show up to the facilities. We have moved on without you. It's sad you don't want to move, but we're trying to grow something here from the ground up. Here's my actual reasoning. We're trying to grow something from the ground up. You're not a part of that, unfortunately. We lament that, but you're not. You're not a part of it because we can't rely on you. And we need to get the guys that are going to be here 3 years from now, we need to get them their minutes to develop them. How you like that, Sundo? Is that a good little sales pitch?
Sure.
Why eat away at Ryan Dunn's minutes?
Didn't some of the young guys actually respect him?
I'm sure they respect him.
Didn't some of the young guys actually vibe with him?
I'm not saying that the players hate him so they don't want him in the locker room. What I'm saying is we're not going to win in the next 2 years. We're not winning a title. So rather than give you 35 minutes a game to stroke your ego and let you play basketball and have a good time and shuck and jive and cheer when the other team splashes threes in your face, rather than let you do that for 35 minutes a night, we're going to give half of those minutes to Colin Gillespie. And we're going to give half of those minutes to Jalen Bridges. Because they might be a part of our future. We have determined you are not. That's the best argument I can come up with for that. And I mean, you're telling me that doesn't hold any weight? You'd rather play Bradley Beal his minutes in a losing effort?
I'd rather play Bradley Beal. I'm just saying, you get him, you got to keep him. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you come up with. They're still going to have to pay him. Don't matter if you decide to not play him, whatever, and let him sit and he's still eating space and money, or if you give him 20 minutes a game. You know what I mean? It don't matter as long as you still got to pay him his full contract. Come up with any plan you want. You still got to pay him, and you're still going to be in whatever apron until you move him or Katie.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with paying him. We're not saying we're not going to pay you. You're going to get your grubby little mitts on your money that you don't deserve.
Sure, give somebody else his minutes. I don't care at this point.
But why double down and give his minutes to someone? Because I would okay. Developers. How do you develop Ryan Dunn and Colin Gillespie and Jalen Bridges when Bradley Beal is playing in their stead? When him playing, Bradley Beal can play his balls off. We ain't winning shit. We're just cutting into the development of our young players.
All right, I gotta go.
Preach, man. I'll finish up with these guys.
I gotta go. All right.
Later, man.
At y'all later. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Someone got to go cook burgers before stuff goes awry.
I might make some of those too myself tonight. That don't sound half bad.
All right, because she already started cooking the fries. She didn't wait for me, so now she's like, the fries are cold. All right, I'll be there. I gotta go.
Later, bro. Let's pop this back up. We don't got to keep beating a dead horse, guys. I'm so frustrated with Bradley Beal that I think I'm getting to the point where I would really consider sitting him. I honestly think it's not a bad idea to just give those minutes. It's doubling down. It's like, it's bad enough we're paying you. It's bad enough we can't trade you. You are keeping us in the second apron. That's really bad. Why do a fourth bad thing and let you run around and sprain your ankles? We're saving you from more sprained ankles and pulled groins. Like, how can he not see that? And it's really weird energy to want to stay on a team that clearly doesn't want you. That is the weird. Imagine you were at a party and you did something offensive and the host of the party is like, bro, you got to go. In fact, we 100% of the people in the room don't want you at this party. And you say, no, I was invited to this party and I'm staying, and you can't make me go. My wife's in there and she's pouring punch for everyone, and she doesn't want to leave. So no. Who does that? Do you have any pride as a male human being? Have you no ego, man? Go get your money you don't deserve from another team. How is this hard? They want you. We don't. Why do you want to be here? My wife likes this apartment we're hanging out in, and she doesn't want to leave. Who the fuck cares? I'm frustrated, clearly. I'm getting more frustrated the more I talk about it. I apologize. Melo Moreno says if he stays on the team and I'm not watching them anymore. Hey, that's not a bad point either. Having him around is just a reminder of what a failure this front office has produced for us. Having him around makes you feel like there is no progress this offseason. If you don't get rid of him, keeping him on the team is just like, what are we doing, man? Hey, wake me up when Beal's gone, because I'm not going to believe that this team... I ain't buying tickets. I'm not buying season tickets to go watch Bradley Beal cheer for the other team. I ain't buying jerseys. I'm not supporting this shite. Like, there's that part of it. Does that not play in? Like, part of me is just, like, being obstinate about this and just being like, you know what, man? F you. You want to say F us? You want to say F us? You have all the power? F you. You don't get to play basketball anymore. Just sit at home, man. We're not winning. I hate to break that to you. If anybody in here is like, whoa, you don't think we're going to win? No. We're not winning a championship. The window has shut. That's done right now. We have to pry that window back open. How does Bradley Beal running around for 35 minutes a night, spraining his ankle every 2 weeks, how does that help us pry the window open? Norman Dre says, Bradley Beal has stated he doesn't want to move his family again out of the big three. BB is the one who's definitely going to be in a Suns jersey next season. Yeah, I'm not even. I mean, Booker will be in a Suns season, but Suns jersey this season. But I'm not even disagreeing. I'm just lashing out like an animal in his death throes. I'm an animal with his back against the wall, gnashing and screaming and flailing, trying not to die here. Absolutely, I can believe it, Alex. And I think he could be good for another team. If you put Bradley Beal on a team that really just needed a shooting guard, he could go win a playoff series or something if it was a team that fit well. It just won't fit here. You're not a point guard. Devin Booker's not a point guard. You're both starting caliber twos. You can't play on the court at the same time. We've proven that. Bismack says people in Phoenix should riot until he leaves. I mean, if anything, just do kind of a peaceful protest. Just peacefully protest by not going to the games. I guarantee you viewership is going to be way down. Also stop going to the games, which I think they will. Suns fans definitely do not show up to games when we suck and they're mad at the team. They don't show up. Dusty Besides, my boy in the house says, I may be wrong, but I think part of it is he's been with the team. He's been with Team X years. and has $57 million playing option for a third year. If he leaves, he doesn't get that 57 mil extra. But Dusty, what if a team picks him up and continues to pay him the contract he currently has? What am I missing there? I know I'm missing something. Alex says Beal would be good in Milwaukee if Giannis stays. Giannis is wanting to stay. And I made a video a couple weeks ago about this would kind of be the same situation. Like sitting Beal for a year, you'd be sitting Dame. Dame's going to need a year to recover from his Achilles. And I would rather try to trade Dame or try to play Dame in a calendar year from now than sit around and have Bradley Beal on the roster during that time. To me, it's a net positive to switch to Dame. I know not everybody agrees with that. I'm not saying you have to. Mavs are a good option, right? They do wackadoo moves. They do need a shooting guard. He could fit there. I don't think they're going to have the money for him. I think they've got a lot bigger plans than just, adding Bradley Beal in the offseason, but maybe. They are kind of crazy right now as well. Maybe they want to go in positionally to give them a shot because they're all in for a now championship, even though they're going to be getting Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg, who ironically cooked Bradley Beal in that Nike camp. I think it was a Nike camp. I don't know if you guys remember that. Cooked him as like a junior in high school or senior in high school. That should have been our first sign, but we didn't want to believe it. Saul says, just got off work. Are we happy with what we heard? Happy's too strong of a word. Jordan Ott seems like a nice guy. He seems like he's deserving of a head coaching role. That's the nicest things you can say about him. Brian Gregory was just annoying in this press conference. I feel that way too, Sticky. Inside the locker room, he is. And I want it out. I want it cut out. I don't care. I want it cut out. Isn't that the answer? They all seem like nice guys. They do. They do. Nice guys often finish last. Nice guys is not what I'm looking for. I would have been looking for some proven. The coach didn't have to be proven, but the GM needed to be a proven GM, and we didn't do that. We just went with someone who can literally help scout a little bit and then cross the T's and dot the I's when Ishbia, our actual GM, pulls off a move or wants to pull off a move. Marty says, can we build a team around Beal and Booker with a KD move? Unfortunately, I'd have to say no, because Beal's injury is number one, and the fact that they're both true two guards. And Bradley Beal didn't take too kindly to being benched. His ego was a lot stronger than I thought it would be. I underestimated it. And he don't like playing off the bench. I don't see how you build around two shooting guards in the modern NBA. I think you need to be built around a point guard that is a force multiplier like Luka, or insert name of player that makes his entire team better, Halliburton. I think that's what you should be built around. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, Ivy, I mean, in retrospect, I don't think we have had a as good You know, I don't think we have had a center as good as DA since we lost him. Sucks. You know, I really do like Nick Richards, though. I'm still in on Nick Richards. I don't necessarily want to say I think he has to be our center starter going forward, but I'm fine if he starts for now until we get somebody better. Him as a backup is just delish. And then Oso also as a backup. Ugh, love those two guys in backup roles. And that's a really good question, Saul. I feel like I noticed at practices, in shoot-arounds, any film you would see that was behind the scenes, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant were sequestered off together, buddy-buddy style, doing the buddy system. And Beal was off doing his thing or working with younger players. I did not get the impression that friend to friend, like on a personal level, I didn't get the impression at all. Oh, hey, look, it's Voida. I just noticed it's Voida. What up, Voida? Look at that Voida beard. That is a goated beard. I didn't notice that Book and KD and Beal seemed like good friends. They didn't seem like really close friends. You know? It seemed like they made a mistake in inviting him into the party and inviting him. It feels like they recognized that they made a mistake and then held it against Bradley Beal, that they are the ones that invited him in. You know, that's just not going to happen, Chuckster. If it happened, I would literally get on my hands and knees and thank God that Oso was able to develop a jump shot, because his jumper is so broken looking. It just doesn't seem possible. Doesn't seem possible. But I still think he can be a good player and very useful, because he's very smart and talented at what he can do if he maximizes his role. Number 10 pick, you think Derek Queen? I'll look into him. That'd have to be the Rockets. We'll see. I don't know if I mean, if you believe what you hear and see on socials, seems like a done deal that KD's going to the Spurs. He wants the Spurs. Spurs want him, apparently. Real question is, like, what are we going to get? And is anyone going to jump ahead of the Spurs, cut in front of the line, and offer the Suns something they can't refuse? Hey, Kawhi's jumper was trash, but it wasn't like his jumper was trash the same way that Ryan Dunn's was trash coming out of college. Statistically, it was trash, but visually, it wasn't that bad. Oso's jumper looks like you pulled a random 5th grade girl out of class, no offense, and said, "Hey, have you ever shot a basketball before?" And she goes, "What's that?" You go, "Well, let me tell you." And then you kind of explain to her how to shoot a basketball without showing, and then that's what Oso's jumper looks like. Unfortunately. Sean Marion basically looks like, his jumper looks like Larry Bird's compared to Oso. Chuckster says, Barkley said it yesterday, we shouldn't be striving to appease KD in a trade. We need to do what's best for the Phoenix Suns. I agree. However, Chuckster, if we were going by that logic, we would have just traded him to the Warriors. But he has a little bit of say in where he goes. He's being generous to the Suns organization right now by not stomping his foot and publicly stating, "I want Spurs only." He's being very good to us by not doing that, or any other team. Because once he does that, it's snip, snip, snip goes our leverage. But if he tells a team, if you sign me, if you trade for me, I'll give you 1 year and I am out the door, which will also snip, snip, snip our leverage. You're not going to get from a team what you would get if KD is willing to stay. So he has some leverage. Yeah, Tyus is probably gone too. I don't know. Maybe Tyus really sucked this last year. Let's be honest. Maybe our expectations for Tyus Jones were just a little too high. Nah, I think that's probably fair. You know. All right, guys. It's been a great stream. I appreciate you all hanging out with us, man. I really do. We thank you for checking out our video that we did with Eric Ruby from PHNX Sports. We dropped it today at like noon Central Time, 10 Valley Time. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. It's a full podcast, 35 minutes. We're trying to do that like once a week, maybe even more. And let us know in the comments, do you guys want us to start going live more? I'm, for the first time in my life, really considering starting to go live more. If that's what you guys want. If not, we'll do videos. We'll do podcasts. Just trying to keep it fresh for you guys. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you during the next game, which I think is tomorrow. We'll have a live stream for Game 3, and it's tied 1-1. Cannot wait for that. Thank you guys for hanging out. Until next time, go Suns.